Hey gang, Mark Sweeney here from Austin Dental Spa in beautiful and warming Austin, Texas. If this is your first Wisdom Wednesday, which is what we call this little gig on Wednesdays on Facebook Live, welcome. And let me give you a quick rundown. We do a little scientific presentation about something that's going on out there in the dental or medical literature that might be of interest to everybody. We also have a theme every month. And the theme for this month, starting last week in the first Wednesday in May, is let's blossom in May, because those April showers are bringing out the May flowers, and I'm seeing evidence of it every time I drive down the road. All these new blossoms are coming out at the end of winter, and it's really starting to look and feel like spring out there. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of new growth, and we're translating that into things that can help create some new growth in your life and make things better. Last week we talked about walking and how the things could benefit. We went through 5 different benefits of walking. If you missed that and you want to see it, we have a YouTube channel that has archived all the past Wisdom Wednesdays, and we're trying to get that up and running, and so that you can go back to any of the YouTubes. We're putting on a few of them at a time, but I'm pretty certain last week's is already on our YouTube channel. So look it up, Austin Dental Spa. What are we going to talk about today? I forgot. No, that's a bad joke. We're actually going to talk about dementia. And some really new research. It just actually came out within the last 2 weeks, and it's fascinating stuff. What would you think? Would time spent on the internet searching the World Wide Web and Googling things, would you think that that would increase or decrease your potential to get memory loss and to early onset dementia? Well, the answer is actually more complex than simple. They're actually both right. Dementia, in case you didn't know, just to give a little background information, most of us, especially in my age group in the 60s, have had some experience with that. An aunt, an uncle, a mother, a father. Unfortunately, I have experience with both those. My father had Alzheimer's for the last 3 years of his life, and my mother developed dementia as she got older, but she lived to 97. Is it a commonly expected thing of old age? Well, actually, it's not. So it's not something that everybody's going to get. There are genetic markers. There are lots of different medications that are coming out now that can not only diagnose it and even predict it before it happens, but there are also treatment options out there now. But we're going to talk about some simple things like internet usage and how that affects it. So there was a study done in the UK and the United States. Let me back up to the dementia. How common is it? Right now, 900,000 people in the United Kingdom and 7 million in the United States have been diagnosed with dementia. That's a lot of people. And what's even more scary is by 2060, they're predicting, these experts that study this stuff are predicting that number to double in the U.S. from 7 million to 14 million. Why is that? Because of us baby boomers that were born from 1947 until about 1954, I think, are considered the baby boomers. We're the largest segment the world has ever seen moving through a population. There were gazillion of us born, and we're all in our 60s and 70s now. And so that's why you see med spas and anti-aging stuff on every street corner, because we're all getting older and we don't want to look like our parents did when they were 70 years old. And so they're predicting that if the trend continues with Alzheimer's and dementia from the generations that were before us, that us baby boomers, if we have it at the same rate of onset, we're going to double the number of people that are suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's. So what are a few signs of dementia? Memory loss is the number one thing. People walk into a room and forget what they came into the room to get. They have trouble with keeping attention spans to what they were doing. They forget in the middle of a task what was going on. Some people with Alzheimer's, or especially with any kind of Alzheimer's, is just one form of dementia, but there are several others. Communication issues. Some people have trouble putting words together. Unfortunately, a good example of that is the President of the United States right now. If you watch any press conferences, he seems to get confused right in the middle of a sentence, and he just makes up some kind of gobbledygook stuff to finish the sentence that doesn't make any sense. Reasoning, judgment, problem solving, those are also tenets of dementia. Visual perception beyond typical age-related changes in vision. So all those things are potential signs of dementia onset. Getting lost in a familiar neighborhood. These are more signs of Alzheimer's. Using unusual words to refer to familiar objects. Forgetting names of close family members and friends. Unfortunately, I had personal experience with that with my dad. Forgetting old memories. I actually had the opposite experience with my dad. He'd be driving down the road with one of my brothers and see a baseball field and all of a sudden go back to 1964 and tell you about a baseball game that happened on that field inning by inning. So it was like somebody opened a file cabinet and pulled out the notes from that, and he could remember it in intimate detail, but then he couldn't remember what his name was and what happened yesterday. So if you see that going on people, it's not only nice to help them out, but it might actually, just from this newest research that I'm finally getting around to that came out in the Journal of American Geriatrics. So it's a well-respected institution that studies this stuff. Just last week, they came out with some studies that I think you might find interesting. This study was done over 8 years on 18,154 adults, all in the U.S., between the ages of 50 and 65, so a 15-year period, and they studied them for 8 years, so now they're all 8 years older. Some of them are into their 70s. None of them showed signs of dementia on the front end of the study, or they wouldn't have included them. But each of these participants was asked at the beginning of the study, do you use the World Wide Web? Do you use the internet for online reservations, for booking hotel rooms, for making purchases, for searching for information? And of the people who used the information at the start of the study, during the 8 years of the study, the people that used the internet had half as much onset of dementia as the people who did not and never did use the internet. Now, there's some caveats to that. They found that the people who use the internet for 2 hours or less per day, 2 hours or less per day, were the ones that had the lowest risk of dementia. After that, they also found that people who used the internet for more than 6 to 8 hours a day, so they were on the internet all day long, their actual risk of dementia went back up to the same as the control group of people who didn't use the internet at all. So too much, like everything else in life, too much of a good thing is just as bad as none of a good thing. So they identified 12 risk factors, and you're not going to like these, but they're ones you've heard before when we've talked about diabetes onset, blood sugar, all the other things we've talked about to try to stay healthy. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but here's the 12 things they found that will cut your risk of dementia, and I'm just going to go through these pretty quickly because you've heard them from me before. Number 1, get at least 7 hours of sleep a night. Number 2, regularly challenging your brain. Number 3, looking after your mental well-being by doing crossword puzzles and, again, challenging yourself mentally. Number 4, staying socially active. Number 5, and this is a big one, getting your hearing looked after. People that did not wear hearing aids but needed them, so they were losing information around them, had a much higher risk of eventually becoming cognitively impaired because they apparently, when things were going on around them that they couldn't hear or didn't understand what was being said or done around them, their chances for Alzheimer's onset increased by 50%. So you had a 50% lower risk if you just got a pair of hearing aids so that you could hear what was going on. Apparently, cognitive decline is accelerated by knowing that somebody's saying something but not being able to hear what they're saying or understand that. That study has been duplicated several other times by other researchers, so it's pretty valid information. Number 6, eat a balanced diet. Number 7, stay physically active. Am I starting to sound like a broken record? Number 8, quit smoking if you're a smoker. Number 9, drink alcohol in moderation. Number 10, keep a healthy level of cholesterol. Cholesterol is brain food. Number 11, maintaining a healthy blood pressure. And number 12, managing diabetes as well as possible. There's your list of 12 things that basically are a good healthy life anyway, whether we're talking about memory loss or not. But I didn't make that list up. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just reporting to you things that we all sort of know by common sense anyway. But none of us really want to go through that or see other people go through gradually losing their memory. There are medications that are coming out now that can help with that. I always do a health tip at the end, so I'm going to end with this, a nice little segue. What's another simple little thing you can do that might help reduce your risk of cognitive decline? Vitamin B rich foods. Vitamin B has been shown, all the vitamin B complex, there's B6, B12, you can get them in injection form at a lot of these health clinics now and anti-aging places. But it affects depression, dementia, mental impairment, often associated with deficiency of vitamin B, and that was found out at Wayne State University School of Medicine. So, what are the vitamin B foods that you can get naturally without supplementing? Eggs, yogurt, legumes, which is the leafy green vegetables, salmon, sunflower seeds. I just had salmon on Monday. Good. Leafy greens. So eat more of those things or take vitamin B supplements. There are B supplements that have B6, B12, all the good B vitamins in them. Simple as just taking a little pill and swallowing it every day. You can go get vitamin B complex injections if you don't mind injections. But there are multiple ways to keep your vitamin B levels up. And so go for it. Take care of yourself. Let's all stay healthy, mentally healthy, physically healthy, and I'll see you next week for another version of Wisdom Wednesday.